Hello folks, how's it going? Welcome to my review of One Piece Chapter 1003. And boy, did Oda really pick up the pace in this fight between the Yonko and the Worst Generation. We did get a majority, and it kind of confirms what I said in my last review. I think it was kind of obvious to a lot of people, but I think it's obvious that Oda is going to cut away from this fight very soon, if not the next chapter, and go to the other fights that's taking place in Onigashima right now with the Straw Hats. So, given what we got in this chapter and with the reveal of Kaido's new form, I think this is going to be the perfect. This is probably going to be the time where Oda cuts away. Start off with the cover page, a fan request, and automatically this is one of my personal favorites considering who's on it. So we actually get Reiju with, and is accompanied by a scorpion, and apparently trying to confess its love to Reiju. I can't believe it, but using a cactus flower. And so that's kind of cool to see Reiju. Speaking of which, like Reiju is one of my votes in the worldwide popularity poll, among many others, but Reiju is one of the ones I voted for. So I'm curious who you guys voted for. Please post them in the comments below. But yeah, that was cool to see Reiju. We wonder, even though it's a fan request, are we going to get some type of reveal about the Vink Smokes? Because we saw about Jinbei. We don't really know much what happened to the rest of the Sun Pirates and the Vink Smokes for that matter. So hopefully we'll find out in due time. And automatically, the beginning of this chapter gave me huge Dressrosa vibes because of how Gear 4 timed out. But also because there's a time limit with, I guess, with Onigashima making its way to the Flower Capital to drop it right on top of the palace, of the Shogun Palace. Luffy using Gama Gama no King Kong Gatling in his Gear 4, infused with Rio to deal some heavy-duty damage to Kaido, and bigger damage than he did before when he was in Ozani form. We saw Luffy use Gatling, but it didn't have no effect on Kaido. But this had a lot more impact to it, but it didn't finish him off. Even after Luffy's last attack, sent it straight down. Everybody looking in shock. You see Big Mom, she's horrified by this. But then before Luffy can go in, another call back to Dressrosa, similar to how Luffy was going to charge at Doflamingo after he launched an offensive flurry. Gear 4 times out, and Zoro and Law are like, "Uh-oh." Kid's like confused by this because he hasn't seen Gear 4 in action, so he doesn't know. But Law immediately calls the drawback because he was there to see it. So he can't use hockey for 10 minutes, which, interestingly enough, so it's not the fact that he nullify the effects of going Gear 4, even with Rio. It's the fact that he's got more stamina, so now we know. This chapter confirms it. So he can't do nothing about that as a drawback, but automatically this is a way of getting Luffy away from Kaido because he's the only one besides Law and Zoro that maybe could do some type of damage to Kaido. Maybe. Although it's going to be a heavy debate concerning what we're going to find out about Kaido pretty soon in his new form. But yeah, this is definitely a plot device to get Luffy away, and this is a pretty good opportunity to get a few folks in some spotlight. Primarily speaking, Law and Kid. Like I said, Law can do some damage because he tried to do the same thing to Big Mom. He has brought this up, but Zoro and Killer were back in action in this chapter. So despite being nailed by Indra, they're already back in it as if nothing had happened. So there you go. I said I don't expect them to be down and out, and it turned the knot. And especially, and Zoro was the one that got Luffy away from Big Mom's attack because she's immediately trying to attack Luffy with Motherly Fire with Prometheus. And Zoro, after getting hit by Indra, was still able to dodge the attack and grab Luffy. So even though everybody was nailed by Indra in the previous chapter, so they all have the ability to dodge, you have Kid and his punk bias alongside Killer's like, "Look, give me Straw Hat." And Killer's like, "Roger that." So what? I don't know what Kid's going to do with Luffy, but I said in my last review that when Luffy said, I felt like that was going to go somewhere. So that maybe that's what this is. Law comes in, uses counter shock on Big Mom. It doesn't have too much effect on her. And then Kaido uses Dragon Twister, so he's using the elements. Once again. So he's bringing down Twisters. Kaido's is aiming for Luffy, but then Zoro's like, "Yo, what do you think you're doing to my Sensho?" Which is interesting because Luffy got pissed when Big Mom nailed Zoro in the previous chapter, so I just love the dynamics here. So Zoro just like, yeah, not give. He's like, what do you think you're doing to my Sencho? Use a three sword style. I ain't gonna let you hit him. And then you clearly see M there because you see the hockey. And then uses his own Dragon Twister. So I found that very interesting that Kaido uses a Dragon Twister, and we know Zoro uses a Dragon Twister. He aims it straight at Kaido, and this is the first sign that Zoro does some damage to Kaido because you see the slash, and you then see Killer say, "Oh, he actually penetrated his scales." So, right in turn, this is where Kaido finally gets the reveal. He finally figures out why that same strange of haki is coming from Zoro. It's because of the sword, and he remembers, oh, that's Odin's sword. Okay. Oh, he's laughing it up that you would think to try and counter my twister with your own. So I just find that super ironic that both of you use Dragon Twister. Then Kaido amps it up. He's like using. And this affects pretty much all of Onigashima right now because you see the rocks falling down below to where everybody else is fighting. And this is the first illustration of Oda shifting the focus for the first time in like 2 chapters. We get the dialogue, and for some reason it pans to Orochi, but then we get a cut to Cypher Paul, and they're aware that the clash between the worst generation and Kaido is taking place. I'm pretty sure they already figured out. They mentioned the Big Mom's there because they mentioned 2 Yonko, became inevitable, and it looks like it's Bai Hong, the girl with the mask with the eye. But then my immediate thought about this is the past tense because if you look at the background, there's somebody that looks an awful lot like Robin. There's eyeing in on the conversation, and my first immediate response to this is why is Bai Hong with Cypher Paul? My immediate thought after this, after watching Stussy in Hawkeye Island, I'm leaning on the fence that there's an insider from Cypher Paul because see what they said by the end of this discussion. So they know about how the reinforcements, the samurai, have launched a counterattack at Kaido, but they didn't do it out front. They did it discreetly. And this is where we get the cuts to the other fights that are taking place on Onigashima. So they also bring up the point like if the might have Kaido's executives, I'm assuming that means on the top notch. But then this is why it's super suspicious why Bai Hong is there if that is her, because you literally have them say like, "Oh, please continue to do your utmost to take each other out, my dear pirates." Are they talking about the Yonko as well, or are they just talking about the worst generation? So that raises a lot of eyebrows. But as it's discussing the fights that are taking place with executives, 2 panels immediately stand to mind. We see Frankie and Sasaki going at it. We have Jinbei and who we don't see who is who, but we know Jinbei's fighting him. We know who's paired up with who right now, but the Straw Hats are pretty much locked in battles. So the 2 immediate panels that stand to mind here is Sanji's panel and the panel with Nami, Usopp, and Tama. Because if you look at the panel, it looks like Ulti is in hot pursuit of Nami, Usopp, and Tama. Because if you look at Tama, looks like she's pointing them in the direction to something in their way. So it's got to be Ulti, which also technically means Page One may be following suit. And the fact that Usopp is back up and conscious again, considering the last time we saw him, he was kind of out of it because of Ulti's headbutts. So shout out to the durability of Usopp. So he's back at it again. So yeah, this means round 2 between Page One and Usopp, and also round 2 between Nami and Ulti, which ultimately, even if they deal combo attacks, the Straw Hats need to be pushed, but ultimately Nami needs to defeat Ulti. I said this before, but she needs to defeat Ulti in order to solidify what she said about Luffy becoming king of the pirates, because that's personal. And Ulti got pissed off when Nami said that, so she wants to headbutt the hell out of Nami. So Nami has to back that up now. Usopp also has to back it up by defeating Page One in turn. Obviously, there's 2 more panels that stand out. There's one with Yamato, because if you look at the background, there's like Momonosuke and Shinobu. They look troubled, but Yamato, she's like got a stance ready, so it looks like someone's approached them. And then Sanji looks surprised for some reason. He looks bloody as hell. He's either still running, or my immediate reaction is somebody's arrived on the scene to like lend him a hand. My money's on Robin, because considering that the last time we saw Sanji, she was dealing with Black Maria, and we all know that Black Maria and Robin are destined to have a fight at some point. So yeah, if that's what happens, but we'll have to wait and see. But then this chapter ends in probably the worst cliffhanger imaginable, even though there's no break next week. So I will say that. So we cut back to Onigashima, to where Kaido is finally in his hybrid form, and Law points this out. Kid Law and Luffy are the ones to acknowledge it. It's interesting that Zoro's attack actually pushed Kaido to use this hybrid form. I said in my last review I would expect him to see his hybrid form soon. We got it in the very next chapter. So it looks, and this is another, again, I want to point this out. I think this is going to be where Oda starts to cut to the other fights, because Oda kept the whole Sulong Nekomamushi Inashi a secret for quite a while. He kept it silhouetted until he needed to. So yeah, I just feel obviously the same thing is going to happen with Kaido. The thing to note here is like Kaido's hand, if you look at his hand, is not normal. It looks like he's got scales, and so he's obviously combined his dragon form with this Oni form. So this is gonna, whatever it is gonna be on a whole other scale. Kaido and Big Mom, they're laughing it up because now they're getting serious. They took this way too lightly. Luffy can't use Gear 4, so I'm curious. I think this chapter pretty much confirmed that Luffy at some point is going to use Gear 5. Like, he could use Snake Man, but what's that really going to do? Because Kaido, in his Oni form, blitzed Gear 4 Luffy. Now, granted, obviously this is a much stronger Luffy in his base form, because 2 chapters ago, Luffy, despite using Future Sight, still got nailed by Kaido's mace, even with Luffy's speed. So yeah, so Kaido's speed is no joke in his Oni form. In his Dragon form, after Zoro at point blank range aimed Emna, Kaido was still able to dodge it in his Dragon form. So Kaido's speed in his Dragon form was pretty insane too. So now his speed is going to double by what it was previously. So this could be trouble for a lot of the Supernova. This is where other members of the Worst Generation would have to step in, like Scratch Malapoo. I don't know where Hawkins is at, but you need to get it. You need to get your ass in gear here. And you also have extra rigs. So unless other members of the Worst Generation show up, like I mentioned, this outside of Wano, because so the fact that Cypher Pole are kind of like focused in this chapter, it kind of makes me feel like if something's going to happen the moment the borders open. Like, and I'm not talking about Admiral showing up, because I think that could happen, because we got Big Mom Kaido, but I just get the feeling some crazy shit's about to go down. So once the borders are open, so because there's the poneglyph, so even if Kaido gets taken down, the world government are going to target Wano because they have information about Laughdale with the poneglyph. So if they find that out, I can definitely see a Buster Call happening. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. But this chapter was awesome. Oda with the pacing of this fight. So obviously, I expected to cut to where everybody else's fights are taking place. Probably next chapter, if nothing else. Let me know what you guys think down below. That's going to do it for today, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Like the review if you did. Hit that thumbs up. I appreciate that. Helps out the channel. Subscribe to the channel for more One Piece. Catch you guys later. Thanks, guys. Bye.